Welcome back to Simrite Fashion Academy YouTube channel for another interesting tutorial. In this tutorial, I'll be teaching you how to sew this beautiful lace placement mermaid gown you are seeing right here on the video and on the thumbnail. The first thing we want to do right now is to draft out our pattern. Here is my shoulder, my chest line, bust point, under bust, and this is the waist line. Neck width is 4 inches. Then you mark your shoulder, divide by 2, come down by 1 inch, and you are going to connect to the 4 inches neck width. On the chest line, you mark your shoulder, divide by 2, just to make a straight line for the armhole. You get the midpoint of your armhole, go in by 0.75 or 3/4 of an inch. Now on the chest line, you are going to mark your bust circumference, divide by 4. Next, you connect your armhole. This is the center front, and the center front will be on fold. Then you mark your nipple to nipple measurement on the bust point and on the waistline. We are going to use this for the dart leg. My dart is 0.75 on each side, making it a total of 1.5 inches. I'm going to connect my basic dart. After that, I'm going to place my tape on the waistline. I'm going to mark my waist circumference, divide by 4. Don't forget to replace the 1.5 inch of your dart. Then I'm going to close from the chest line to the waistline. On the under bust, you take your under bust, divide by 4. Whatever you have left, you put 0.25 in front and the rest on the side. Next, you connect your bustier from the bust point to the under bust this way, and then connect a straight line all the way to the waistline, as you can see. Next, you will come over to create the princess dart. We have a princess dart line for this dress. I'll just go ahead and connect my princess dart just at the midpoint. I love to place my ruler the way you see me put there. Wherever it gives me a good curve, I'll just mark my princess dart. Then come out by 1 inch and reconnect the armhole. Of course, you know how to go about the princess dart. So the neckline I'm using here is 7.5. Then I'm connecting the 4 inches width to the 7.5 inches neck width as shown. Next, I'm going to come down by 2 inches for my bust dart. So if you are using the bust dart technique, you are going to mark out the difference between your front length and your back length. That is my bust dart right there. We'll go over to the back pattern piece because we are done with the front pattern now. So I'm going to extend all the lines, the shoulder, the chest line. Here is my center back. Then I'm also going to mark out my waistline since there's no bust point. So the 2 inches difference I have on my bust dart technique, I'll just come up at the back by 2 inches. So if your front length is 17 inches and your bust dart is 2 inches, that means the back will be 15 inches. So I have my shoulder, chest line, and my waistline. I'm going to impute my shoulder, divide by 2 on the shoulder and on the chest line. 4 inches is the neck width for the back, and 1 inch is the neck depth for the back. So I will go ahead and connect my neck line for the back. Next, I'll come down by 1 inch for my shoulder drop. I'll connect this way, mark a straight line just for my armhole. I'm going to get the midpoint of my armhole at the back. I'll come in by 0.5. Next, I'm going to connect as shown. On the chest line, you mark your bust circumference, divide by 4 and connect it this way. Next, we are going to take the waistline. The waist, divide by 4, you are going to mark it. Add 1 inch for your back dart. Now get the midpoint of everything for your basic dart for the back. Mark it also on the chest line. Next, you are going to connect a straight line all the way to the chest line. My dart for the back is half an inch, half an inch. So I'll go ahead and mark half an inch. Then I'll connect my dart as shown. Sorry, my camera is really wobbling right here. Sorry about that, but I believe you are following the tutorial. After marking the dart, I'll go ahead and get my shoulder dart. That's the midpoint of my shoulder seam line. I'll connect it to the point of my dart. Now I'm going to contour my bag because it has a zipper by 1 inch. I'll connect it all the way to the neckline this way. Next, I'm going to replace my 1 inch of the zipper bulge on the side and replace it on the chest line as well. Then I'll go ahead and close up my dart. So this is B1, B2, this is F1, F2. The patterns are ready for cutting. So I'll go ahead to cut these patterns. This is the zipper part of this dress. So I'm cutting out my pattern as shown. So what I did is, if you look at that back, that I shifted the dart 1 inch forward. That's just what I did. Everything is the same, but I just thought of bringing the dart a little bit closer to the center back. So I'm cutting the one I shifted 1 inch forward. Okay, so this is the back piece right now, and I'm going to cut out the front pattern too. So here is my front pattern. I'll just go ahead and cut. I am just highlighting or showing you how to go about the cutting. So you can see how I'm cutting. I'm cutting through the princess dart, through the neckline, through the shoulder seam line. I went ahead and kept cutting as shown. So I kept cutting this way. I'll go over to the side right now, and I'm going to cut also. So this is how to go about the cutting right there. Next is to close up your bust dart. So I'll go ahead and apply my adhesive and close my bust. The front pattern piece is ready right now, but then I am going to fold my pattern paper right now. This is just to get the other part where we have the lace placement. So I bring in my pattern paper this way. Go ahead and trace out exactly the shape of F1 pattern. That is the front pattern. So you are going to trace it while it is on fold, as you can see. So I'll be sharing with you the tips and tricks to using this to create that curve you are seeing on the lace placement. So this is what I got right here. I'll go ahead and take off my pattern paper. Then you are going to get the center front line. From this center front line, I'm going to go in by 1.5 inches on the right or left side of the pattern. And then I'm going to connect it this way. You can see how I placed my pattern ruler. I'll connect it to the center front neckline this way. Next, we are going to separate the two patterns right away. So here is my F1A and F1B. Okay, that is that F1. We are going to pattern it now. This is what I got right here. So this is will be cut 2 times, the part of the other pattern. Now I'm going to, this is my back pattern. I'm going to set it aside while we go over to the down piece. For the down piece, you also place your pattern on fold, and then we are going to start marking out the vertical measurements. So here is the waistline, and I'm going to place my waistline measurement. Just place your waistline, whatever you have on that waistline, place it on the paper like that, and then go ahead and mark your hip line, and you mark your knee line. Make sure you go up 3 inches above your actual knee for your knee line. Then I'll come up by 2 inches from my hip line. That is the upper hip line. Now this is my waist, the upper hip, the lower hip, and this is the knee line, and I'll use this as my full length for now. You are going to mark in your waist. This is the center front. Waist divide by 4, hip divide by 4, and hip divide by 4 on the lower hip too. Next, you are going to connect from your waist to your upper hip. After connecting from your waist to the upper hip, then you are going to take the measurement of what you have on your hip line, minus 2 inches from it, and put on the knee line. Then you connect this way. This is the pattern now. So next, you just cut out that skirt pattern. We are just drafting the upper part that has the pattern. Later, we'll cut our mermaid gown and place this on top of it. Now you are going to open up your pattern and make sure you join this upper part. You are going to join the upper part this way and mark that point at which we have the curve. So once you have indicated the point, next you are going to go over, mark it on the skirt line. Then you go over to the side of the skirt, measure 5 or 6 inches below. Then you are just going to freehand it this way. There's no actual measurement, just freehand it the way it looks nice. So this is it. So it will just run all the way like that into the down part of the skirt this way. All right, so that is the front pattern for you. Now we are done with the pattern. I'm just extruding it to see how it's going to sit. Next, you are going to separate the upper patterns this way. So once you separate it, we will keep the down part. When we come to the down part, I'll show you what to do. So we want to start sewing the upper part of this skirt right now. The bustier. These are the back pattern piece, and these are the front pattern piece. Now I'm going to cut these pieces. Here I'm done cutting the pieces, and I cut out the part that is for Ankara and the part that I used nude fabric for. This is the back pattern piece. I used only Ankara for it as shown. So here the patterns are ready. I added half an inch seam allowance all over, and this is the front pattern piece. So we are going to first start from the front. You will join the nude to the Ankara fabric with half an inch. After joining, this is what I got right here. So I am going to, this is the back, I gave it a good press. So you go over and get the lining. Here is my lining, and I'm going to take off all my patterns. So to use my pattern to create my bustier. So I'll just mark out my bustier on my pattern as you see me do right here. Here you can see I'm done marking it out. Next, I'll cut it out and use it to cut my wadding. Here I am placing it on my wadding and it's ready to cut out. After cutting it out, I made notches at the bust point and I added half an inch on the size of my wadding. So next, I'm going to place it on the bustier part, the sticky part of it from the under bust area. I'll secure with my pin. I'll do the same on the side of this pattern and use my hairstay to stick on it. This is what I got. I have already used my hairstay to stick on it. So next I'm going to sew in the bustier right now. Here the bustier is ready and you can see what I got right here. This is the back and this is the front. Next, we are going to sew the lining. I also sewed the lining of the bustier as well. So this is the back pattern piece. I'm going to join the back pattern pieces as shown. Here I went ahead to join each of them with half an inch, including my lining as you can see. We will come back to the front dress as you can see. We want to stitch the neckline. So I'll lay my lining right side to right side on the neckline. I'm going to stitch with half an inch. After stitching, don't forget to make notch on your neckline like this. Then you make notches all over I'm going to flip all my seams to the part of the lining right now. I'll go ahead to top stitch on it so my neckline relaxes nice and flat. Here you can see I'm done with the neckline. I've given it a good press as well. I'll bring in the back pattern piece now. We want to go ahead to start joining the neckline for the back as well. I'll go ahead and stitch in 1/2 inch and top stitch it. After joining, this is what I have on the neckline. You can see it looks nice and clean. Next, you bring in the front neckline. I'm going to join them together this way. So you pick up the lining for the back and wrap it up this way. Then stitch 1/2 inch to it. You can see the neckline is very much ready as shown. Now we'll go over to the down part. For the down part, you can remember we drafted this pattern. Now I'm going to use it to cut out my lining. I'm going to fold my lining using my hip circumference divide by 4. Then you add like 6 inches for the mermaid extension. Now I've marked my border line, so you just go ahead and bring in the pattern and pin it this way. After that, we'll begin to add our 2 inches seam allowances. You just add it all the way to the knee line. Once you get to the knee line, next you are going to connect it all the way to the extension. We are going to cut. You just go ahead and cut your pattern. I'm done cutting the front pattern piece. Next, we'll go ahead to fold this lining too. That is for the back pattern piece. This time around, you use your hip circumference divide by 4, add like 20 inches for the train extension and the side extension. The first thing you are going to do is to mark like 12 inches. That 12 inches is going to be the train extension. So I will rule a straight line all the way down. That will be your center back. Then you are going to bring in that same pattern piece. Place that center front on the center back. Secure with your pin. Now we are going to start drafting the mermaid pattern. Now I'll pin the down part of my lining. So after pinning, next you are going to add your zip allowance. After extending the waistline, hip, upper hip, lower hip, knee line, you extend it on both sides the way you see me do right here. So on the waistline, we'll go in from that line by 1 inch. That is the zip contour line. Then you replace it on this other side. And you are going to connect it to the upper hip this way. And then connect this to the upper hip like this. So whatever you take off, you replace. Next, I'll go in on the hip, on the knee line by 1 inch. That is the butt allowance. So from the lower hip, you are going to connect it as shown. Now, you also replace what you have there. After replacing that part, you will also connect from the hip line to that point. Then you will also extend from that point to the side extension this way. Next, you will come over to the center back 1 inch and you are going to connect that point all the way to the end. But before that, I want to mark out the train extension. So from that full length line, you are going to mark how long you want your train to be. It all depends on you. I'm using 10 inches for in this case. Now I'm going to mark that my line all the way to the 10 inches. But before that, I just want to get this curve the train curve, I'm going to take it all the way to the side extension, as you are seeing me do right here. So after I've gotten the tail or train extension, I'll proceed to mark from that point. I'll take it all the way down. So here we have connected the train extension as shown. So next we'll begin to cut out. I'm going to take off my pattern right away. Then we are going to cut out. Before you cut out, we are going to add 1 inch for zipper allowance. Okay, so you add your 1 inch zipper allowance, don't forget. So I'll just go ahead and add it all the way to the knee line like this. Then also add it on the side this way. So here I am trying to connect the lines I just marked. Next, you just go ahead and cut off your pattern. So I'm cutting on the side of the pattern this way. I'll follow all the chalk lines. After cutting on one side, I started to cut on the other side too, as you can see. So here is what I got. The back pattern is ready. So I'm going to place my Ankara on it and cut out too. I'm going to cut my Ankara exactly the same shape with my lining. As you see me do right here, everything will be the same. So here is the front pattern piece. I'll place a notch at the center front for both of them like this. Next is to take off the pattern piece. After taking off the pattern piece, I will open up the pattern this way. Place the center front of the pattern on the Ankara fabric, secure with my pin. It's time to cut out that shape that we created. I'll just go ahead and cut the shape out this way. So you cut it out and set it aside to cut out the nude fabric. So I'll go ahead to add 1/2 inch on this pattern right now. Here I've added my 1/2 inch. So I can now go ahead to use this other pattern to cut out the other as well. Next, we join them together. So I just flip it right side to right side and stitch in the curve. But you can go ahead and secure with your pins. Next, we are going to join the upper bodice. So you just go ahead and match the upper bodice very well like this. Make sure the pin points passes through each of the pin points this way, and then I'll secure with my pin and stitch. This is what I got after I'm done joining as shown. So the next thing we want to do now, I'll place my tailor's hand below because we want to start the main business of this tutorial, which is the lace placement. So your tailor's hand will be on the bust area, then you lay your lace this way. So I'm going to lay the lace, making sure it crosses the neckline, okay, that neckline. So I am taking off the back piece. I was not supposed to join the back piece, sorry about that, because we need to also join the lace part too. After taking off the back piece, so that part is free, so I'll be able to lay it well. So I want you to see the pattern at which I'm using to lay this. I'll make sure the neckline is well laid first. Next, you arrange your center front area. So if you are arranging it and you notice that it's not sitting well, feel free to take it off. You can see I am also pinning this on the neckline. So that means you need enough pins. You come over to the bust area and make sure you arrange the bust area. Then you can see on that the selvage of the lace, I am making sure I'm placing it first on the nude line. So you keep shifting it, not to worry, you will see how we are going to maneuver this. So after I'm done pinning the selvage parts, we'll begin to arrange the other part. So make sure the lace selvage takes the shape of that joining, I mean the nude joining. So this is it. Now you notice that there will be some dots. If you try to lay them straight, there will be some dots. So you can see the dot it created. So just keep laying it straight and forming that dot. Can you see that dot? So you keep pinning by the side of it, forming the dot. So the tips and tricks is to make sure you lay that part straight, then you form the dots. You can see what I have there. And make sure you have your tailor's hand below, just to lift up the bust area. So next we are going to cut out the dot. You're going to come in between like this, then you cut the dot open this way. So once you cut the dot open, this is what you are going to have. Once you cut it open, you just separate it and lay one on top of the other. So if you lay one on top of the other, you will notice that one will have an excess. So what you just do is to trim off that excess. That's all. You just go ahead and trim off the excess. This is me trimming off the excess, as you can see. So I will make the excess to just match like that. Then you secure with your pins as well. Next we'll come over to the bust area. So you arrange the bust area very well. So you can see I'm still securing that we created on that part. So you make sure you cover it. So I'm pinning not on the lining, no, please take note. I'm just pinning on the fabric alone. So this is what we got. You can see how neat and beautiful it looks. So the next thing we are going to do is to trim out the side. I'll go ahead and trim out the excess. Then we'll come over to the bust area. We will also have some dots on the bust area. As you are arranging the bust area, you also notice that there are some, you have some dots. So you have to arrange and form that cup very well. So this is lace placement for you. So you form it this way, secure with your pin very well, and you also notice a dot is formed. So we'll also do the same thing we did the other way for that other dot. Open it up and then lay one on top of the other. Once I am done, I'll begin to take off or trim off the excess. So the same way I laid the lace on top of the other way, that is how I also did on the dots on the bustier part. So just go ahead and trim off as shown, and your lace placement is done. Now we'll begin to tack. So here I am going to start tacking. So we have to start tacking from the neckline. So on the neckline, I'm tacking only on the fabric. Please don't tack on the lining because your thread is not supposed to show at the back. So I'll keep tacking this way. Here you can see how I'm tacking. So I will tack all this selvage you are seeing right here. I'll just use tiny tacks and I'll tack it all the way down. Over to the part I also laid. That is the part we formed our dart and laid. I'll also keep tacking. I have gradually come to the end of it. So I'm going to join the down part of my lining right now to the upper piece. And after that, we'll shape it. I've gone ahead to sew my zipper, and next we are going to shape in the size of this dress. I'll put them right side to each other, lining to lining. After shaping, my sleeve is very much ready. I've cut it out. So next I'm going to join the sleeve. This sleeve has a lining, so I'll just take off 1 inch because I want the lining of my sleeve to be shorter than the men's sleeve. After cutting out the lining, I'll join them right side to right side and stitch. This is what I got after I'm done stitching. Now I'm going to put the sides together and shaping. After shaping, this is what I got. Next, I'm going to turn to the right side. Then we proceed to sew the sleeve to the dress. After that, I'll also cut the other sleeve. Thanks for watching.